Hello, everyone. Are you here? Is everyone here? Good afternoon. Hello, hello. I just had to jump on with our gems to share some good news. It's been a heavy day today. For those that were with us earlier this morning, we just released an interview I did earlier today with a woman who went out with the alleged Long Island or Gilgo Beach serial killer. Her name is Nikki Brass, an incredible woman who gave us 40 minutes of her time this morning, and I recommend watching that interview. And then after that interview ended, I got the best news straight from Vicki Hoban. Vicki Hoban is Tammy, Daybell'S, and Vicki. And she let me know that she has that she won, that she is able to give a victim impact statement next week. I can't believe the sentencing is next week, but next week she is able to give her victim impact statement in front of Lori Vallow Daybell at Lori Vallow Daybell's sentencing in Fremont County. This is something that came down that we have been worried about and stressed about since June 8th, actually. That is the day that Phyllis Douglas died. Phyllis Douglas is Tammy Daybell's mother. Vicki Hoban and Vicki. Phyllis is Vicki's sister. So I can imagine the trauma this family has been facing. First, the trial that they faced, and then shortly after the death of Phyllis, Tammy's mother, and then that same week, that same day, learning that Vicki Hoban might not be able to give her victim impact statement at the sentencing and to be a voice for her niece, Tammy, who she loved so much. So I wanted to get on here and share the order from Judge Boyce. I have been communicating with Vicki. Vicki is very grateful. She is very grateful for Judge Boyce and his decision, and said she felt his compassion in the order. I wanted to go over it with each of you today. It's such a great and exciting thing. And I just got another message from Vicki. I want to share another connection here. Vicki is Lucille's daughter. Do you remember Lucille here? Lucille is Tammy Daybell's grandmother. And Chad used Lucille to shame and swear at Tammy when she wanted to play the video game Frontierville. Vicki, as well as the late Phyllis Douglas, are both the daughters of Lucille. And Vicki wanted to let me know that Lucille is also so grateful for this decision. Lucille would say that she knew it would happen because it's the right thing. She wouldn't be surprised, but she would tear up anyway. So Lucille gets a voice now too through Vicki. Let me go over. Laura, thank you so much for your kindness and support. We appreciate it so much. We're going to go over the order from Judge Boyce together, the memorandum decision and order. So it starts here. On Friday, July 14th, the court received a letter from Vicki Hoban. Now hereinafter will be called the petitioner, requesting that she be designated to exercise victims' rights in this case. The court orders as follows. 1, factual and procedural background. On May 25th, 2021, a grand jury assembled in Fremont County, state of Idaho, returned an indictment against defendant Lori Noreen Vallow Daybell, hereinafter will be referred to as Vallow Daybell, charging her with several crimes. 2 counts of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, and 2 counts of first-degree murder, a single count of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and a single count of grand theft. In the indictment, 3 homicide victims are named. Joshua Jackson Vallow, who we know as JJ, a minor child at the time of his death. Tylee Ryan, also a minor child at the time of her death, and Tamara Daybell. A jury returned a verdict finding defendant Lori Noreen Vallow, aka Lori Noreen Daybell, hereinafter Vallow Daybell, guilty of all counts of the indictment. On June 5th, 2023, petitioner filed a form with the court requesting to exercise victims' rights in the case. On June 8th, 2023, the court issued an order stating from the record before that the court cannot determine whether Vicki Hoban is entitled to the provisions of Article 1, Section 22 of the Idaho Constitution, which states in part, the rights of crime victims as defined by statute has the following rights: to be treated with fairness, respect, dignity, and privacy throughout the criminal justice system, to be present at all criminal justice proceedings, to communicate with the prosecution, to be heard upon request at all criminal justice proceedings, considering a plea of guilty, sentencing, incarceration, or release of the defendant unless manifest injustice would result. Now, let me go back to something because I just want to make sure I didn't miss a part. It says that the court cannot determine whether Vicki Hoban is entitled to the provisions of IC 19-5306. Then the defendant will be sentenced on July 31st, which again is next week. Okay. So in other words, I just want to make something really clear too, that Judge Boyce stating that Vicki Hoban was not entitled to give a victim's impact statement, that's not true, actually. Other people have stated that, including attorneys and people trying to say that that there was a Supreme Court ruling. But the truth is, Judge Boyce actually stated, I cannot figure out who Vicki Hoban is. He didn't say it like that. Those are my words. This is me interpreting legalese. But he's saying, I don't know who Vicki Hoban is. I need it to be defined because I don't see her as immediate family. If she's an aunt, is she immediate family? Can she legally give a victim impact statement? So I'm going to keep going. All right. Okay. So it explains in Idaho Code Section 19-5306, it enumerates the rights afforded to victims of crime. Under the statute, victim means an individual who suffers direct or threatened physical, financial, or emotional harm as a result of the commission of a crime. Idaho Code Section 19-5306-3 clarifies the provisions of this section shall apply equally to the immediate families of homicide victims. The court may designate a representative from the immediate family to exercise these rights on behalf of a deceased, incapacitated, or minor victim. The Supreme Court of Idaho has clarified who qualifies as the immediate family of homicide victims. And then we go into case law. In Shackelford, the court considered who was an immediate family member for purposes of receiving victim impact statements in preparation for sentencing of defendant convicted of homicide in State versus Shackelford. So in other words, Judge Boyce is looking at precedent that's already set and looking at case law to determine what the Idaho Supreme Court has already stated is an immediate family member who can give a victim impact statement. And in that, we learn that victims applies equally to immediate family members of homicide victims. So immediate families of homicide victims, meaning Vicki might not be an immediate family member because she is an aunt, not a mother, not a father, not a sister. But wait for it. Let's keep reading. As a comment, the court is not, nor has ever been, immune to the considerations of crime victims. Thank you, Judge Boyce. I actually think Judge Boyce is being very reasonable here. He's dotting his I's, he's crossing his T's, he's respecting the law. But the court is not, nor has it ever been, immune to considerations of crime victims and their family members in this or in any other proceeding. Further, as petitioner correctly identifies, petitioner again is Vicki Hoban. Further, as Vicki continually correctly identifies in her ex parte letter, the court never ordered that Hoban would be excluded from making a victim impact statement. And that is true. If you read the past order from Judge Boyce, he never does say that she will be excluded. The court, so it never stated that Hoban would be excluded from making a victim impact statement. Instead, the court declared that it could not be determined from the record what relationship, if any, Hoban had to the proceedings, and if she is or isn't an immediate family member, right? But again, the duty of the court today, it says, is to determine who is a victim under the express provisions of Idaho law and assess permitting individuals to make victim impact statements at sentencing in accordance with those laws. Again, I think Judge Boyce is being very fair here. He's saying we are not immune to considerations, and it is our duty as the court and me as a judge to determine what victims can be allowed to make victim impact statements according to the laws that have already been set. The court in no way minimizes the significant impact of losing family members to homicide. Acknowledging the impact of such a crime is far-reaching. However, it is incumbent upon this court to ascertain who meets the legal definition of victim. So Judge Boyce is again stating, I am not saying she isn't a victim. I am saying that we need to determine who meets the legal definition of a victim. The court now determines as follows, having received additional information through Hoban's letter. So thank you, Vicki Hoban, for writing this letter. So Vicki writes a letter, and they have received this additional information as it relates to her relationship to Tammy Daybell. Vicki Hoban has petitioned this court to designate her to stand in the place of Phyllis Douglas, who is the late biological mother to victim Tamara Daybell. Phyllis Douglas, as the mother of Tamara Daybell, does meet the definition of an immediate family member to Tamara. As the court can now ascertain from the record, Phyllis is unable to exercise the rights afforded to her as an immediate family member to a victim who is unable to exercise their own rights. In other words, Phyllis has passed away on June 8th. She passed away hoping that her sister, Vicki, would be able to speak on her behalf. And now Phyllis has been denied that right. She cannot speak and give her victim impact statement. And the victim herself is also not able to give a victim impact statement because Tammy is also dead, killed, murdered. So now Tammy can't speak and her mother can't speak. As is represented to the court, Vicki Hoban is the biological sister to Phyllis Douglas and wishes to stand in Phyllis's stead to make a victim impact statement on behalf of her niece, Tamara or Tammy Daybell. And because Phyllis Douglas is unable to fill the role of the immediate member on behalf of Tamara Daybell, the court now designates Vicki Hoban as a representative of the immediate family of Tamara Daybell, and she is permitted to make a victim impact statement at sentencing. It is so ordered on this 19th day of July, 2023, Judge Stephen W. Boyce. I want to give Judge Boyce credit for that. And again, I want to also give Vicki credit for fighting. She had told me previously that she was not going to stop fighting. She spoke out on News Nation with Ashley Banfield, and she has worked really hard because she believes that her niece, Tammy, who she was quite close to, deserves a voice. And of course, according to Vicki, Grandma Lucille also believes that Vicki deserves a voice and wanted that to be known. She also, once again, Vicki also wanted to again state that she is very grateful to Judge Boyce, and she felt the thoughtfulness that he came to in his decision. People are asking what state is she being charged in? Idaho. Idaho is the state right now. So that is the latest. I wanted to share that with our community here that has been following in such a dedicated way to this Daybell case. And we are also dedicated. I plan to be at that sentencing next week. It is on July 31st. It's a Saturday. And I will be there. I will be with Vicki. I will hopefully be able to stream the trial or the sentencing, excuse me. And so stick with us, subscribe to be a part of that sentencing. Someone else is asking, it might be the case that another person is speaking out for Tammy, but I don't want to speak for them either. But an immediate family member might also be speaking for Tammy Daybell. So well done, Vicki. Thank you, Judge Boyce. I am too so happy that Tammy's family will be heard. All right, everyone, I wanted to share that good news. Again, I also check out the interview that I released today. And John and I do plan this weekend to do a hidden hour. And so stick with us and we'll have more information later for you. Thanks, everyone. Oh, I'm so glad you love your new HTC Gem shirt. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you. Bye-bye.